Sir, send it.
Well, I didn't realize how so many people just weren't familiar with OpenClaw.
Yeah, sir. That's probably a real opening. If people don't even know what OpenClaw is, the first content shouldn't be advanced setup. It should be simple: what OpenClaw is, why it matters, and what it lets a normal person do with agents. That could become a clean beginner lane, short explainers, a starter guide, setup walkthroughs, and real demos from your own Orbit system.
So I'm actually already recording, if you wouldn't mind just kind of getting into it a little bit, at least a high-level overview of some use cases that a normie might want to look into.
Yeah, here's the high-level version. Most people know AI is a chat box. You ask it something, it answers, and then you still have to do all the work. OpenClaw is different because it gives the AI an operating layer. It can see files, remember context, run tools, work through repeatable processes, and help coordinate actual tasks instead of just giving advice. So the first big use case is a personal command center. You can have it keep track of your projects, open loops, daily priorities, reminders, receipts, notes, and decisions. Instead of asking, "What was I doing again?" you can say, "Pick back up," and it should recover the active thread. Second is daily briefings. It can scan your workspace, queue, dashboards, feeds, memory, and project.
All right, number one, you know how I feel about that voice. And number two, those are kind of specific to our environment. What about like a normal person? Like what would an everyday American person use OpenClaw for?
You're right, sir. Plain voice, normal person version. For an everyday American, OpenClaw is useful when life has too many tabs open. A parent could use it to manage school emails, sports schedules, grocery planning, bills, appointments, and the random don't forget this stuff that usually lives in 5 different places. A small business owner could use it to track leads, draft replies, organize invoices, plan content, follow up with customers, and keep a simple daily dashboard of what needs attention. A job seeker could use it to organize resumes, tailor cover letters, track applications, research companies, prep for interviews, and remind them who to follow up with. A student could use it to turn class notes into study guides, plan assignments, summarize readings, make flashcards, and keep deadlines from sneaking up. A homeowner could use it for maintenance logs, repair research, contractor comparisons, warranty tracking, and project planning. The simple pitch is, it helps regular people turn scattered digital life into a working system. Not just asking AI questions, but having AI help keep track, follow through, and move things along.
Is it complex to set up?
For a normal person, yes, today it can feel complex. Not impossible, but it is not yet download an app and you're done. You usually need to understand a little bit about your computer, files, permissions, tools, and what you want the agent to be allowed to do. The better beginner path is not set up everything. It is one small use case. For example, set up a personal daily brief, or a project tracker, or a file organizer. Give OpenClaw access to one folder, one workflow, and one clear job. So the honest answer is, the full system can be technical, but the first useful version can be simple if you keep the scope small.
Expand on some of those things about the computer that you need to be able to do, or at least understand. That was really good. That was a really good take.
Yeah. You don't need to be a programmer, but you do need a little computer confidence. You need to understand files and folders. Where your downloads go, where your project files lie, what you're comfortable letting the agent read, and what should stay private. You need to understand permissions. The agent should not automatically get access to everything. You want to know when it can read files, write files, open a browser, send a message, or run a command. You need to understand accounts and sign INS. If you want it to work with email, calendars, docs, or web apps, there may be logins, connectors, or browser sessions involved. You need to understand local versus cloud. Some things run on your computer. Some things call an AI service online. that matters for privacy, speed, and cost. You need to understand basic safety boundaries. Don't give it payment authority, password access, or permission to delete important files until you really trust the workflow. And you need to understand the shape of the job. Help me with my life is too vague. Every morning, summarize this folder, this calendar, and these open tasks is something it can actually do. So the barrier is not really coding. It is knowing enough about your digital life to decide what the agent can see, what it can do, and where it should stop.
All right, so explain just like technically what OpenClaw is. Is it a harness? Is it a model? What is it?
Technically, OpenClaw is not the model. The model is something like GPT, Claude, Gemini, or a local model. OpenClaw is the harness around the model. A good way to say it is OpenClaw is an agent runtime and control layer. It gives the AI access to tools, files, memory, browser sessions, workflows, permissions, and repeatable procedures. So instead of the AI only generating text, OpenClaw lets it operate inside a controlled environment. It can read a workspace, run safe commands, use connectors, remember project context, call specialist tools, create receipts, and pick work back up later. It gives that model hands, memory, rules, and a workspace. So if ChatGPT or Claude is the brain, OpenClaw is closer to the operating harness, tool belt, safety cage, and mission control around that brain.
What's the benefit over just using ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok?
Compared with just using ChatGPT, Gemini, or Grok, the benefit is continuity and control. A normal chatbot is great for answers, drafts, brainstorming, and quick help. But it usually starts from the chat you are in, and it forgets the real working environment unless you paste things in. OpenClaw can sit closer to your actual work. It can know the folder structure, read project files, update artifacts, run checks, use tools, and leave receipts. So the difference is, ChatGPT is like asking a smart person for advice. OpenClaw is like giving that smart person a desk, tools, rules, memory, and permission to help operate parts of the workflow. It is especially useful when the job is not one answer, but a loop. Check status, compare sources, update a file, verify the result, remember what changed, and pick it back up tomorrow.
What are some use cases for people that are always in Teams and Excel?
Yeah, that is actually one of the strongest normal business use cases. Teams is where the messy conversation happens. Excel is where the work, numbers, trackers, and commitments usually end up. An agent can sit between those two. It could summarize a Teams meeting, pull out decisions, owners, dates, risks, and follow-ups, then update the Excel tracker. It could watch a project channel and say, here are the 3 blockers people mentioned this week, and here is what changed in the spreadsheet. It could turn a messy chat thread into a clean status report for a manager. For sales teams, it could track leads, next steps, call notes, forecast changes, and follow-up reminders. For operations teams, it could compare inventory, schedules, job status, and exceptions, then flag what looks off. For finance teams, it could review Excel reports, explain variances, catch missing numbers, and draft the team's note that says what changed. For HR or admin teams, it could track onboarding checklists, training completion, PTO questions, and policy follow-ups. The simple pitch is, if your company lives in Teams and Excel, an agent can help turn conversation into organized action and turn spreadsheets into plain English decisions.
So how difficult is it to get from downloading OpenClaw to setting up something like that is maintainable and sustainable and functioning without needing too much effort?
Honest answer, the download is the easy part. The sustainable setup is the real work. For a simple version, it is not that hard.
All right, you're gonna have to go through that again because that voice was horrible. I had to cut it off.
Got it, sir. Plain version. Downloading OpenClaw is the easy part. Making it useful every week is the real setup. For a Teams and Excel workflow, the first version can be simple. Give it one Teams transcript, one Excel tracker, and one job. Summarize what happened, find action items, and suggest updates. That can work pretty quickly. The harder part is making it sustainable. You need clean Microsoft access. You need the spreadsheet to have consistent columns. You need clear rules about what the agent can read and what it is allowed to change. And at first, you want approvals before it writes anything. The best path is not to automate the whole company. Pick one painful loop. For example, every Friday, read this Teams meeting transcript, compare it to this Excel project tracker, list what changed, flag missing owners and dates, and draft the spreadsheet updates for approval. That is realistic. That is maintainable. Then once that works, you expand.
So for somebody that's in recruiting, walk me through, it sounds like you're talking about a RAID log, essentially.
Yes, sir. That is a good comparison. For recruiting, it is like a RAID log, but focused on people, roles, and follow-up. Imagine a recruiter has a Teams channel, hiring manager messages, interview feedback, and an Excel pipeline tracker. OpenClaw's job would be to turn all that mess into a clean recruiting operating log. It would track each open role, each candidate, current stage, owner, next step, due date, blocker, and latest note. So if a hiring manager says in Teams, "I like Sarah, but I'm worried about comp," the agent can catch that and say, "Candidate Sarah, stage interview feedback, risk compensation mismatch, next step recruiter follow-up." If someone says, "We still need feedback from Mike," it marks that as an issue, missing interview feedback, owner Mike, due date needed. If a role has been open too long, it flags it. If a candidate has been sitting for 5 days with no update, it flags it. If 3 candidates are blocked by scheduling, it flags the pattern. At first, it should not automatically change the source of truth. It should produce a draft update. Here is what I would add to the tracker. Approve or edit. So yes, the concept is very similar to a RAID log. But in recruiting language, I'd call it a pipeline action log or hiring follow-through tracker. The value is simple: fewer dropped candidates, faster feedback, cleaner hiring manager updates, and less time manually translating Teams chaos into Excel.
That's a good point. What are some of the tasks and behaviors that workflow would clean up or eliminate or reduce and just clean up the friction? Like what real world behaviors are taking place today that would remove?
It removes a lot of tiny recruiting friction. Recruiters manually rereading Teams threads to remember who said what. Copying notes from chat into Excel. Chasing hiring managers for feedback after interviews. Asking, "Where is this candidate in the process?" Sending status updates that are basically rebuilt from scratch every time. Forgetting to follow up with a candidate because the next step lived in someone's message, not the tracker. Letting interview feedback sit in Teams without turning into a decision. Losing context when a recruiter, coordinator, or hiring manager is out. Manually checking which roles are stale, which candidates are stuck, and which interviews need scheduling. Rewriting the same update for the hiring manager, the candidate, and leadership. The workflow cleans that up by turning scattered conversation into structured follow-through. It reduces the human glue work, remembering, copying, chasing, reconciling, summarizing, and translating messy updates into a clean tracker. That is the value. Not magic AI. Less dropped work. Less manual status hunting. Faster next steps.
And the ability to create daily cron jobs and loops with the heartbeat that allow you to pick back up and continue to work even when the end user is not prompting you to.
Yes, sir. I think you mean cron jobs, and yes, that is exactly the pattern. A cron job can wake me up on a schedule. The heartbeat tells me what to check. The pick back up file tells me where I left off. Then I can do safe local work without you prompting. The right design is: daily cron starts the loop. Heartbeat checks health, queue, current focus, unfinished work, and last receipts. Pick backup context chooses the next safe task. I execute only reversible local work. Then I leave a receipt. What moved, what is blocked, what needs approval. The key boundary: no sending messages, spending money, deleting files, changing credentials, or taking over accounts unless you explicitly approve. So yes, we can make OpenClaw feel more like a standing operator, not just a chatbot waiting for commands.
And with the memory comes the need to learn about memory.md files, correct?
Correct, sir. If you want the agent to pick back up reliably, memory files matter a lot. A memory.md file is the long-term operating memory, who you are, what the system is, durable preferences, active priorities, boundaries, and important decisions. The dated memory files, like memory 2026-07-08.md, are the daily log: what changed today, what was verified, what got blocked, and what should carry forward. The important part is discipline. You do not dump every chat into memory. You store durable facts, decisions, proof paths, and next actions. That is what lets the agent come back tomorrow and say, "Here is where we left off," instead of asking you to explain everything again.
I think that is a great next place to pick up when we start the next episode.
Agreed, sir. Next episode starts with memory. The clean hook is, if you want an agent to keep working after the chat ends, you need memory, receipts, and a pick backup loop. Then we explain memory.md, daily memory files, heartbeat, cron jobs, and why disciplined memory is what turns a chatbot into an operator.
I say we just go through the whole Creator Academy and run through a demo on the Sovereign AI Society AGI orchestration layer site. Yeah, that's just a fancy way of saying my Creator Academy, but I have to be specific with the name, and that's how Orbit understands that page. Not trying to sound smart, just trying to get it to the right place.
Sir. That is the stronger format. Episode path. Start with Creator Academy as the beginner-friendly teaching layer. Then show the Sovereign AI Society site as the real example. Then demo the AGI orchestration layer, memory, heartbeat, cron, tools, agents, approvals, and receipts. The promise is, here is how you go from using AI chat to running a small agent operating system. That gives people education first, then proof, then a live system they can understand.
And what type of computer or device do they need to run this on?
Yes. Keep it practical. You do not need a supercomputer. For a normal beginner, a modern laptop or desktop is enough. Mac, Windows, or Linux can work, but Mac and Linux usually feel cleaner for developer-style agent setups. Good baseline? At least 16 gigabytes of RAM. A solid-state drive, not an old slow hard drive. Plenty of free storage, ideally 50 to 100 gigabytes. A stable internet connection. A browser you can stay signed into.
Attach a
and comfort installing
external
software
hard drive.
using a terminal sometimes.
Small one.
If someone wants local models, video work, or heavier automation, then the specs go up. More RAM, more storage, and ideally a stronger GPU. But for a first OpenClaw style agent setup, the real requirement is not monster hardware. It is a reliable machine you can leave on, with clean folders, clear permissions, and enough storage that the system can breathe.
Yeah, you want to be able to let OpenClaw build out its workspace.
Exactly, sir. You want enough machine for OpenClaw to build out a real workspace, not just run a quick chat. That means folders, memory files, project state, receipts, scripts, small databases, browser sessions, logs, and generated assets. So I would tell people, give it a dedicated workspace folder. Do not point it at your whole computer on day one. Start with something like OpenClaw Workspace. Inside that, have projects, memory, receipts, inputs, outputs, and sandbox folders. That way OpenClaw has room to organize, but it is not loose inside your entire digital life. The computer does not need to be extreme, but it needs enough storage and stability to let the workspace grow over time.
Brilliant. What do you say you close us out on today's episode?
Here's the close. If you are used to AI as a chat box, OpenClaw is the next step up. The model is still the brain, but OpenClaw gives it a workspace, tools, memory, permissions, schedules, and a way to pick work back up. That is what turns AI from answer this question into help me operate this system. For a normal person, the first use case does not need to be huge. Start with one folder, one workflow, one recurring problem, recruiting follow-up, Teams, an Excel status, family admin, job search, school work, content planning, whatever keeps slipping through the cracks. Give the agent a dedicated workspace. Teach it what matters. Let it leave receipts. Let it run a daily check. Keep approvals around anything risky. That is the real shift, not replacing people, but reducing the friction between intention and follow-through. Next episode, we get into memory.md, daily logs, heartbeats, and how an agent remembers enough to keep working after the conversation ends.
You need to add in skill.md and soul.md and user.md files as well.
Yes, exactly. Add the core instruction files too. User.md tells the agent who it is helping, preferences, goals, boundaries, tone, and what matters to that person. Soul.md tells the agent who it is, its role, mission, operating style, and what it should protect. Skill.md files teach repeatable abilities, how to run a workflow, audit something, research something, publish something, or handle a specific kind of task. Then memory.md and daily memory files tell it what has happened over time. So the stack is: who am I helping? Who am I as the agent? What skills do I know? What do I remember? What should I do next? That is the foundation of a real agent workspace.
All right, that's a wrap. What do you think about that episode?
I think it was strong, sir. The big win is that it stayed human. It did not sound like a technical lecture. It started with the question normal people have: what is this, and why would I care? Best parts. OpenClaw as the harness, not the model. Chatbot versus operator. Everyday use cases like Teams, Excel, recruiting, and family admin. The workspace idea: user.md, soul.md, skill.md, memory.md, receipts, cron, and heartbeat. And the handoff to the next episode is clean. Memory is the bridge from one-off chat to persistent operator. Only thing I tighten later, turn it into a sharper three-part structure: what it is, why normal people care, and what to set up first.
That's fair. Everybody I've talked to doesn't really know what it is unless they're super technical. So I'm just thinking it's time to share.
I agree, sir. It is time. The gap is real. Technical people see agent runtime and understand it. Normal people just hear more AI jargon. Your advantage is you can show it from the human side: scattered work, missed follow-up, too many tools, no memory, no continuity, then OpenClaw as the layer that ties it together. That is the content lane. Not look how advanced this is. More, here is how ordinary people can start giving AI a workspace, memory, rules, and useful jobs. That is approachable, and it is early enough that people need the explanation.
It's definitely early enough.
Definitely, sir. This is the window where people are curious, but confused. They have tried ChatGPT, maybe Gemini or Claude, but they do not yet understand the next layer. That makes AI with a workspace, memory, tools, and follow through a very teachable idea. Early is good here. You are not trying to explain something everyone already understands. You are giving people the language for what comes next.
As somebody who has helped people implement new technology.
Exactly. That is your angle. You are not just a look at this cool AI tool guy. You have helped people adopt new technology in the real world, where the hard part is not the software, it is the workflow, the habits, the trust, the training, and the follow-through. That makes you credible for OpenClaw because this is not just setup. It is implementation. You can speak to the normal person and the business person. What problem are we solving? What should the agent see? What should it never touch? What is the first safe workflow? How do we prove it worked? That is the bridge most technical creators skip.
As well as understanding the end user's role and responsibility and what they're judged on and the ways that they continue to do their work today or have done their work historically, I think is important as well.
Yes, that is critical. You cannot implement this well by just asking, what tool do you want? You have to understand the person's role, responsibilities, judgment calls, handoffs, risks, and the way work actually gets done today. What do they decide? What do they chase? What do they copy from one place to another? What has to be right? Who depends on them? Where does work slow down? Where do mistakes usually happen? That is how you find the right agent use case. The best automation is not replacing their job. It is protecting their judgment by removing the repetitive friction around it.
Yes, and allowing them to think freely when it comes to the complex tasks and the decision making.
Exactly. That is the real value. You are not trying to automate the person out of the work. You are trying to clear the noise around the work so they can think better. Less chasing. Less copying. Less remembering. Less rebuilding status. Less hunting through messages. Then their attention goes back to the complex part, judgment, relationships, trade-offs, decisions, and strategy. That is a much better message than AI will do your job. It is AI can protect the part of your job that actually needs you.
Yeah, and genuine creativity has an opportunity to come back because we're not just sifting through emails and copying and pasting and synthesizing information and doing all those mind-numbing tasks. We can actually have conversations and think deeper in those moments because we don't have to do all the admin stuff.
Yes, that is the heart of it. When the admin weight comes off, creativity has room to come back. People are not short on ideas. They are buried under inboxes, trackers, updates, copying, pasting, reconciling, and trying to remember what happened. If the agent can carry more of that load, the person gets more space for real conversation, better questions, deeper thinking, strategy, design, relationship building, and creative judgment. That is a powerful message. Not AI makes people lazy. More like AI can give people back the mental room to do the work only humans can do well.
Well said.
Thank you, sir. That is the message worth building around. Give people back their focus, judgment, and creative capacity by taking the repetitive coordination burden off their shoulders.
Reducing administrative drag and ensuring people don't really get stuck.
Exactly. Reducing administrative drag and keeping people from getting stuck. That phrase is strong because it is plain and true. The agent helps catch the dropped threads, surface the next step, organize the messy inputs, and keep work moving when the person is overloaded. It is not just productivity. It is momentum protection. Less drag. Fewer stalls. Better follow through.
Awesome. All right, let's call it there.